Hi all, welcome to this video. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to create a 2D game in Unity using the free Metroidvania assets. It will be divided into 3 sections which you can skip forward to the parts you need. The first section is importing the assets and running them. The second is adding animations to objects like walls and ground sections. The final section is going to be about basic health UI elements on the screen. Without further ado, let's go. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open the Unity Hub and create a new project. So I'm assuming you've opened the Unity Hub. We want to create a 2D game and create project. So the game now looks like this. And what we need to do is we need to import the packages that are required. So if we go into Window and go to Assets Store and we can search online, what we're looking for is the Metroidvania controller. So if we type in 2D character controller Metroidvania, we see this particular controller come up, and this is the one we want. It is free, it's easy to install, so we just click on here. You'll see that mine has already imported. You would just say download and then it can go into Unity. So once we've downloaded it and we've opened it in Unity, we can go to our Unity game, and if we go up to Window and to Package Manager, we can click My Assets, and we will see this appear in this window here. So here is my Metroidvania controller, and now I need to import it into the program. It comes up with this, we import, it now comes into our game, we can close this down. So this is our Metroidvania controller assets, and we can see our prefabs over here, and we can have a look at those in a sec. But first we need to create a scene which this character can move around in. So if we go up to Game Object, 2D Object, Sprites, and we're looking for a square, click on that. You'll see how we've got different options here. We can move this square around. We can rotate it if we like. I'm not going to rotate it now. We can expand it out. So if we grab this, we can expand it this way. That's one way of doing it. Another way to do it is to click on this and we can drag it across so it's in our scene. So this white thing is in our scene. So I'm just going to place it here. So up here is our inspector. Here is our hierarchy where the name of that square is, so I could rename that. So if I go over here, right click, rename it, and I can call it ground. And now I probably want a brown color, so let's click on there and let's look for some kind of brown color. Let me see, something like that's fine. And you'll see it's gone to a brown color here. At this point, if I was to actually place my character into here, it would use physics and would just fall through the scene. What I need to do is I need to make this into a collider. So what I need to do is add a collider to this. So if I go over to Add Component, click on here, write 2D, and you can see Box Collider, Area Effect, Capsule Collider, etc. What I'm looking for is the Box Collider 2D in this case. Click on that. It now has placed a collider around this. So this means that when I place the character onto the scene, it's not going to fall through. And it is a very, very simple way of putting the character in. I just come over here. So this is under Metroidvania Controller, under Prefabs, and Draw Character. I just drag him in. And so if I just click off there, there he is. So if I was to run this, there is my character. I can use my D key, my A key, my this one's, whoa, he's gone over here. This one is the X key, the Z key to jump. I can do a double jump. I can use the V key to attack. And so we can all use those particular things. I want you to notice how I've pressed run up here to get this going. So you'll notice I've got the game screen here and the scene screen here. So this is the character in the scene, and I can actually see him running around the screen, or there he is animating in the screen, but I can only see that in the game when I am actually in the game screen. So this is where the character is, this is the game screen. Let's stop that. So I've stopped the running of the game, and you'll notice how he's not moving anymore. Whereas if I come back here, that's where I can actually click on him and change his position, move him around. I could make him bigger if I really wished. So we can actually just expand him up and out, and then move him up, and you can see that he's now bigger. And if I run him, you'll see he's bigger in the scene now. The next thing that I can do is create, and I like to do this, I like to create a walled space for the moment, just to contain him and the enemy so that we can see what happens. So if I click on here, I can now copy this. It will copy it with the collider. I then paste it. So all I did was press Control C and Control V, and you'll notice how it's got ground up here. And if I rename this and call it wall, I can now move, with that wall selected, I can move that wall up. I can rotate that wall, so moving it around here, something like that. It's not quite right, but that's okay. And then I can move that wall. I can create another wall very quickly by pressing Control C while that's selected and pressing Control V, and another wall appears, and I can just drag that over here. So that's how to create the walls, and that means that when I play it, I can't run into those walls. No matter what I do, I can, attack those walls, but it's not going to do anything. I can jump at those walls and it won't do anything. Okay, so now let's put in some enemies. So if I go to the enemy prefab over here, double click, I've got ally simple AI and enemy simple. And if I click that, just drag that up here. So there's my little enemy, he's a little fella. And what I can do now is I can run that, and you'll see how he automatically attacks me. He might run into the wall first, or may just attack me. We'll see what happens. Alright, so, and we can see how he's attacking me, and then I die. So I can actually attack him, and there he dies. So that's the enemy automatically done there. Okay, what I want to do now is I actually want to get some kind of animation going. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another square. Well, let's go and create another square. Game object, 2D object, and let's sprites, and let's create a square. And this square I'm going to extend a little bit. And what I want to do is I want to place them somewhere up here. I can place them down further if I wished, where I could actually make it work. I'm going to add a component, a 2D box collider, and so there is my square. I might change the color, and we've made him there, and let's move him down. I want to animate this particular box. Select this tool here so it can move backwards and forwards. Let's go to the animation pane, which is in Window, Animation, and we're going to go to the animation. And this is our animation pane, and we can just expand this up so we can see what's going on. I'm just going to make it a bit smaller. Yours might come out like this in the first place, but mine's obviously moved around. So what I want to do is I want to create an animation. So I press Create, and it goes New Animation, and I can give this a name. So I'm going to give this the name Floor Moving Create. I'm going to add a property over here. And what property? It's the transform property. So I click on there, and I want the position plus sign there. So we've created our animation. So what we want to do is we want to take it to the, say, the 30th second. Let's go up here and maybe over here. Let's add a keyframe. Then I want it to go back over here, say 1 second, and it's going to go back to the same position. Add keyframe. And you can see it's now moving over that particular thing. So if I press play, you'll see how it's working there. Now I could try and jump on that. I think that's going to be pretty hard, but let's see what happens when we actually play this. So we've got this animation going over here, and I could actually attack this. Here we go. Attack him. Make him die. And then I'm going to try and, well, jump on him. And here he is. He's on that particular thing. He's having a little bit of fun up here. That's pretty fun. So that's how to create an animation. So now, in order to create the UI elements for the game, we need to create a canvas, create a text object, position that text object in the game, unpack the prefab or the character, create the script, and attach the text element to the script in the inspector. Let's create the canvas. Game object, UI, canvas. This creates a canvas element over here. Now we need to create a text object. With the canvas selected, right click and select UI. Right click, UI, down here. And we've got text or text mesh pro. This will be a text mesh pro. This means our code needs to be set up for text mesh pro. So it creates the text in text mesh pro inside the canvas, but we need to select import the essentials. So import that. And now we can see if we select the text over here, we can go over here and adjust some things in here. So if I was going to be dealing with life, I could change that word to life over here. And what that does is it creates the word life inside the canvas. And you can see just the very bottom right hand corner of the canvas now. So if I was to pull this out, I'm just going to drag it across, you can see life is in the middle here. Well, that's obviously not where we want it to be. So what we can do is we can go up to here. It's probably important to actually do it inside this section rather than dragging it across. So select that and let's make it left, and let's make it the corner left. Press enter, and then we take this element, so we can grab that and we drag it across towards where we want it to be once we've set up this in the top left hand corner. So now if I press play, you'll see life appear, and you can see life is up here, but it's not doing anything. Obviously he's dying and there's no change over here. So the next thing is to unpack the prefab. So the reason we unpack the prefab is because we cannot place and change certain elements on our prefab if it is a full prefab. And we know it's a prefab because it's blue, and we've only got 2 prefabs up here. The one we want to change is draw character. And so what we want to do is we want to right click the draw character and go down to prefab and unpack completely. So the next thing after we've done that is we need to create the script. And we're going to create the script on the character controller TD script, which is already here. So let's show you how to do this. What we do is we go over to these 3 dots, select that, go down to edit script. It opens up Visual Studio. Now let's have a look. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be changing the code. In our code, we need to start using the UI. So if we go up to this particular part in the code and we start writing using Unity Engine, and you can see it pop up here, click on that, .UI, and you can see it come up there, and then We always will use the actual IntelliSense to do everything in there because it connects it up. Sometimes when you're typing, it can be exactly the same code, but it doesn't work because it's actually not attaching to the UA namespaces. So use the IntelliSense every time that you can. The next part we're going to do is we're going to do a SerializeField down here at about line 15 or so. Now you notice how I'm creating some space here. Okay, so I'm going to type in serialize, there we go, and it's going to be a private, a TMP, there we go, TM Pro, and it's going to be a dot text mesh pro UGUI, and it's going to be called LifeText. So what this does is it provides a SerializeField private text mesh pro variable called LifeText. SerializeField enables us to put it into the inspector. So if we see here, it enables us to see it inside the inspector up here, so that a lot of these are serialized fields, but a serialized field can't be accessed from outside of the script. So it gives us like the ability to have it public but private. So SerializeField is what we're dealing with. So the SerializeField, it's private, and it's going to be a text mesh pro variable, and it's going to be called LifeText. If I was to save this, save all, if I go to Unity, you can now see it here, LifeText. See that? So now we actually need to use that. And so we're going to create just after the void awake. So here's the whole void awake down to this curly bracket. We're going to create a little update the LifeText program or function. So we write void tab, and then we're going to call this update LifeText, and it's going to have curly brackets, and we're going to write our little code that will update it here. So LifeText, there it is, dot text is equal to life colon, and then we're going to add a plus sign there, and we're going to say life, and we're going to make that go to string. And what this is going to do is it's going to concatenate the life with the colon to the life variable already established in the life draw character. So what we mean by that is if we see over here, we've got the life variable, it's 10, and we've got the LifeText. This LifeText is going to say life colon, and then it's going to have the value 10, and it will update every time, and as the life goes down, it'll go 8, 6, etc. So that's going to do that, but at the moment, this is not doing anything. And so what we need to do is we need to get that and put that into the start. And there is no start in this particular script. We haven't got a void start, so we're going to create one, void start, and open brackets, and there is our void start. And in our void start, we're just going to grab this, copy it, paste it, and that's going to, at the start, update that LifeText. What we really need it to do is update it every time that there is some damage. So we're going to go to the damage text, the damage function, apply damage. And just after, see, we've got if and else, and in between this bracket and this bracket, we're going to type in update LifeText. There it is. And that is now going to, every time we've got damage, it will update that text inside that LifeText. Well, you'd think that this would do it all so far, but it doesn't quite. So first we need to save all. So this won't work until we've got the draw character, this text mesh pro element being here. So we need to drag this across to here, and I had it already done there, so I'll just undo it. So this won't work until we drag this element here onto this, which is part of the draw character. So we select the draw character, we go down to the text draw character so we can see this inspector. We go to this text component, drag it all the way onto the live text. Now I believe I've got an error in my code. So if I was to run it, I can see where the error is. And the error is actually down here, line 76. So let's have a look at line 76. There it is. So what I've forgotten is the little brackets there. And so what this has done, this should work now. So life.text equals life to string, and it's running that little program. So let's run it. So as you can see here, the value is going down as he's attacking him. Okay, and of course I can attack him and so I'm defending him, and my life didn't go down that time. I hope this was helpful.